All right. Says we're live. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. We'll get this started. I apologize for being very late tonight. The time is 1:12, so if you took the over, congratulations on that one. Unfortunately, last stream for a couple of weeks. If you do not know, we are taking a 2-week break after this weekend for the Olympics, which sucks because I'm probably not watching the Olympics anyway. But hopefully we can get a good race in today. First time we've been to Indy since like COVID. So looking forward to a good one today, hopefully. All right, you can hear me loud and clear. I know I saw a lot of hair jokes, which not the best hair day. Should be a fun one today. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a Denny Hamlin victory. He needs to cross this off his checklist for crown jewel races, and I think it somewhat likely it does end up happening today. But I had about 160 of you waiting. Apologize for keeping you, but looking forward to a good stream. Actually did build some lineups before I got on here, which is something new, so that's probably one of the reasons I was late. Why would NASCAR take a break for the Olympics? I guess because of NBC. I guess they're covering the Olympics. That's how it is. So unfortunately, we got the boot for a little bit. As far as, I'll get into the questions here in a minute, but as far as like thought changes since I did the preview video yesterday, nothing really. I would say the guys I am building around up top are Hamlin, Larson, Tyler Reddick for the Dominators, and then also William Byron is someone I like quite a bit in tournaments for like the top Doms. And I would say the second tier of Dominators are probably going to be like Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. I'm just not getting to them as much as the others just because of their price points. And I like the other guys a little bit better. And there's only 160 laps, so it's not like there's 500 laps, and all these guys could lead like 60 laps apiece. I do have Elliott and Blaney for Dominator points projected, but the majority of it is going to Hamlin, Reddick, and Kyle Larson. So those are the Doms that I am building around up top. As far as place differential is concerned, there is no shortage of that today. Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, I absolutely love today on either DraftKings or FanDuel. Unfortunately, I am getting into a lot of Kyle Busch. I said he's potential trappy play, which he is, and I will probably fall for it once again. Projections like him, and he was fast in practice, so it's not like he was just slow all the way around. He was top 12, I believe, in overall lap times. And if you're looking at his lap averages, 16th, 11th, and 15th, I guess I'll get on board once again. He's starting 34th, so I mean, like, worst that can happen is he probably finishes 36 like he usually does. We'll be playing Austin Cindric a lot. Josh Berry, he's like third in line between Kyle Busch and Austin Cindric, but he is in there. Chastain seems really slow, so I'd probably have him fourth within that group just because of the price point. We'll be into Eric Jones. We'll be playing some Hocevar, and that's kind of like the main pool for me. In pivots, off of some of these major chalky drivers, William Byron, I like up top. I already mentioned that. I like Bubba Wallace a lot. I like Alex Bowman in tournaments. And then on FanDuel specifically, like on DraftKings, Bella's still fine. Bella's a fine play, but on FanDuel specifically, I think he's a great play over there. Only $10,000 starting at 18. It's super easy to fit in, especially since those down points don't really matter much on FanDuel anyway. All right, and to get this out of the way, bets. I only did early in the week bets. I have not done anything after practicing qualifying because I'm not really seeing too much value. William Byron, top 3, was showing a little bit of value at plus 260. It was plus 290 last night. I think it's plus 260, best number you can get now. Still shows value, but I haven't outrighted him to win, so I might just keep it there. I got it at plus 1,300 earlier in the week, and with his odds now being at like plus 800, I feel pretty good about that. And then also bet on Truex 0.2 units early in the week at plus 1,600. And I don't think that's a good bet now. Could he win? Sure, but I mean, at least it was only 0.2 units. But William Byron's the one that shows value across the board for me. All right, let me get into the questions here. Whatever you got, throw me at them. I'll miss you guys for 2 weeks, so I'll be here to answer any questions you guys have. Got a donor from Chris Jenkins as always. Appreciate that. So since it may be hard to pass, how many Doms do you think and who? Yeah, for me, with only 160 laps, it's not like, again, we don't have so many Downer points. 112, I think, is the max amount we can get. And then with cautions, obviously, you can't get fast laps. So for me, I would say 1 to 2. It's kind of similar to a road course build where you're getting like 1 to 2 guys that could potentially win the race in your lineup, and then you're filling it in with pretty much the place differential that the field offers us. So I think a lot of lineups today, you can start with a combination of, say, Hamlin, Reddick, Larson, Byron. Just some combination of potential lap leaders, like 1 to 2 of them. And then you're filling it in with like the Kyle Bushes of the world and things like that. I would say 1 to 2. And I do appreciate the donut, as always, sir. Johnny T, first one here. Says, Chris, what's up, man? What's up, Johnny? As always, I gotta ask what drivers I should build around for cash games over on FanDuel. Appreciate you and all you do for us. Appreciate you being here, Johnny. I think it's pretty straightforward on FanDuel today of like what you would build for cash games. So the core I would build around is Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, and Kyle Busch. That would be my cash core on FanDuel and pretty much my cash core on DraftKings as well. Although, I mean, Cindric's right up there with them. But that would be my cash core on FanDuel today. I think the optimal is like extremely tough. I don't want to. Probably shouldn't be giving out lineups. This is one of the top 2 optimal lineups on FanDuel. I probably shouldn't be giving out optimals. So, but just know like the main core is those 3 drivers, and it's just mixing and matching guys like Hamlin, Cindric, Larson, just cheapies to mix and match with that for the most part. What's up, Sean? What's the optimal FanDuel and DraftKings lineup? Pause. Thank you. Hopefully, I answered that one. DraftKings is very similar, although Tyler Reddick, he's still fine on FanDuel, but he is a much easier play on DraftKings because the dominator points matter on DraftKings, and he's free. He's below $9,000, so very easy to fit in Reddick. But pretty much the same drivers on either site this weekend. Top 5 drivers to win the race. My projections have it as Denny Hamlin number 1, Tyler Larson number 2, Reddick number 3, Byron number 4, and Elliott number 5, which I believe is the top 5 in Vegas, although they have it in a different order. They would have Reddick at 2nd. I have him in 3rd, and then they have Elliott in 4th, but I have him in 5th. Like Byron just a little bit more than Chase. The practice times, like I know Chase was amazing last week. I think he'll be strong today, but Byron definitely was quicker in practice. Looking at the lap averages, it was 12th, 12th, 16th for Elliott, and then Byron was at 9th and 6th. But if you're looking at their overall lap times, Byron ranked 2nd for me, only behind Larson, and Chase Elliott was down around 19th, which I don't think Elliott's going to be a borderline top 20 car, but it did look like Byron was quicker. Who are your favorite GPP pivots on FanDuel? It's going to be the same for either site because of how the pricing is, but the main chalk plays are these massive place differential guys like Kyle Busch, Josh Berry, Austin Cindric. But sandwiched right in between them, or right around them, Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace. Those are my 2 favorite pivots on this slate. Just because not everybody can be 40% owned, so they're just naturally going to be lower owned. But they should have speed. Both those guys have top 10 potential cars. You know, Bowman's in a Hendrick car, and they have plenty of speed. He was very fast in practice, so I think those are excellent pivots. Say whether you're on DraftKings or FanDuel. Austin says, guys, Bowman or Buescher. Buescher for me. And even if it is a tournament, I mean, I feel like there's another way we can get different instead of getting rid of Buescher, but I will go with Chris Buescher there. I think the RFK cars will be really good today. What's up, Isaiah? Says Reddick, Byron, Logano, Buescher, Cindric, and Berry. I know it's sus, but going for the 100K. Any recommended changes? Thanks, Chris. Yeah, Joey would be like the one thing I'm like a little bit on, but the rest is really good, and I'm not going to really talk you off of Joey, but for me, he does not project well. I'll just put that out there, but everything else looks really good. I mean, Reddick's really cheap on DraftKings. I think Byron's an excellent tournament dominator option. Then obviously you gotta like Buescher, Cindric, and Berry. What's up, Mom? Good luck, NASCAR fam. Go, Joey. I think you're at Cedar Point today, so have a good time there, Mom. And thank you for stopping by. What's up, Yvette? Says, I wonder if Chris is going to be on time today. Absolutely not. Definitely was pretty late. Do apologize for that. RB says, hey, Chris, can you do a single entry lineup for DraftKings? I probably shouldn't be giving out lineups, but if I am playing a single entry on DraftKings, I think swapping out one of the major chalky drivers like Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric, or Josh Berry for one of those Wallace, Alex Bowman types is a pretty strong way to go. And then you could swap out one of the main chalk dominators, whether it be Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, and you could put in William Byron if you're trying to get different. And like in single entries, you don't have to get extremely contrarian depending on the contest size. Like I play a lot of ones that are like with 30, 40 people. So really just one pivot can be fine and you don't have to get too crazy. So you got to know your contest selection. Like if you're in the 100K, obviously you got to get crazy. But with the single entry, 1 to 2 pivots is perfectly fine. And you can still play chalk and it's all right. Yvette says Bowman all day. Yeah, I do think Bowman's a strong tournament play today. He's still really cheap. He's in a Hendrick car, and I think they're going to have speed at this type of track. And he was fast last week. I think his average running position was like 11th, and obviously the finish did not reflect that, but he still was running pretty solid. Bowman 130. Guess I don't get what that means. 50 people waiting. You must mean you're important. I'm only as important as you guys want to make me be. I appreciate you being here. What's up, Spread? Says Blaney back to back. Bank it. Well, he definitely should be solid. I don't think he's got a race winning car. He was very strong last week, but I mean, he did benefit from a couple guys getting speeding penalties at the end. But he was still very, very good. And I think he'll be very good once again. But I think it'll be very tough to beat like a Denny Hamlin today. Not saying it can't be done, though. And obviously, we all know crazy things can happen in NASCAR. There can be 2 laps to go, someone wrecks, and then the entire field ends up getting flipped. Rose says, you didn't care for my lineup last week. And well, you were right. It sucked. Hoping this week is slightly better. I don't remember what it was, Ro, but I apologize that the lineup didn't do great. Well, I guess I didn't care for it, but I don't remember what it was. Justin says I got 12 minutes late. I think you were perfect on that, Justin, so it's a good call. President says over under 3.5. Yeah, 3 minutes was definitely way too short. Happy race day, Jared. Glad you can make it. Bung says FanDuel has a few fun parlay specials. I gotta say, if a sports book is offering a parlay special, I think I'd probably want to stay far away from it. There's a reason they offer parlays, and it's not because they lose money on them. But I do want to mention, if you are in Florida, and I think they're available in Ohio, just a couple of states, but Hard Rock is offering a odds boost today for a live bet. So I'll be making a live bet of some sort during the race today. So I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we will find out. So I'll be using that profit boost, odd boost, whatever it is, on Hard Rock today for live betting. And honestly, live betting, I mean, it's the odds that the books have been offering for NASCAR lately are just so atrocious. So you can find some value in live betting. Jason says, I have a sneaking suspicion that this will be Chris's best hair day yet. I'm personally going to say you were wrong. But Chris is down in the hairspray, rest in peace. It's funny, not going to lie. Then he says, if I pick Haley, he'll end up in the wall and on fire. I'm going to do you all a favor and not pick him. Well, appreciate it. I'm sure everyone that's playing Haley will appreciate that, Danny. For me, I think he's going to be... He looks slow, personally. I mean, I think Rick Ware just... I think they're better at different tracks. I mean, just when it's so open like this and you just got to get raw speed, I think that's where they're going to trail a little bit. Obviously, Haley was fine last week because half the field wrecked out, but I don't think on speed alone he was anything too special. Plenty shirt on and crazy haircut takes time. It sure does, Steven. It sure does. I'm on the white number 9 car. I can't fault you for liking Chase today. My projections don't like him as much as the other guys up top because he's just not getting as many dominator points for me personally. Like I gave him 10.5 laps slide-ish, 0.27, and some fast laps. And I do have him as my 5th place finish, although projection-wise it's not 5th. It's like my winner is Denny Hamlin, and his projected finish is 5.71. So he's at 8.77 for Elliott, but it's still 5th overall. That makes sense. Justin says, what is the key to binking without it feeling like a caution-based dart? I love to know. I mean, a lot of times, you're doing so well, and a few laps left, everything just gets destroyed, and it's like, well, if you won this week, you're probably an idiot. But sometimes it pays off to be an idiot. But nothing we can do about that. I mean, if you are building good lineups and you are cashing, and there's just screwy stuff that happens at the end, there's just really nothing you can do about it. Unfortunate. And there are many times. Jason says, Chris pivots off of Wallace and Cindric. Thanks for the great content. Appreciate you, Jason. I would say Wallace is more of a pivot off the other chalky guys. So pivoting off of Wallace is like a double pivot, it feels like. But the pivot off of Cindric, I mean, naturally would probably be like Josh Berry. But if we're trying to get like completely off the chalk there, Berry's a 75. I think Eric Jones is perfectly fine pivot there. He's good at Pocono last weekend. He's usually pretty decent at these larger tracks. So I'd say Eric Jones is a fine pivot there. And if you're trying to pivot off Bo Wallace, I guess it would be Alex Bowman. But I feel like they're pretty similar plays. 4 plays on FanDuel for me. Both RFK cars with Buescher and Keselowski. And then Kyle Busch is hard not to want to play. But Christopher Bell, I like a lot over there. and then also just like Hamlin or one of the other big dogs, Kyle Larson. Jason says Larson wins. Larson Elliott last lap battle. Yeah, if you guys watched the Xfinity race, obviously Xfinity don't expect it to look like Cup today because they were running the restricted engines, the Super Speedway package, well, Super Speedway engine, and then intermediate aero package. But last lap, three-way battle with Eric Almirola, Riley Herbst, and Cole Custer. Really cool, fun to watch. I mean, maybe I should. I spoiled the end of a race one time, and someone yelled at me because they were watching it on playback. So I'm not sure if I should say it, but amazing ending. Larson, he could win. I wouldn't be overly surprised. I do have him in second for me personally. It looked really strong in practice. Stack the back, says Darren. I mean, it kind of looks like that because of the starting positions, but please don't ignore some of the potential race winners. You're going to want them in your lineups, like Reddick, Hamlin, Larson, for example. De Palma says, all 6 of my top projected scoring drivers fit nicely under the cap. That's usually a very bad sign. Really? Top 6 projected drivers under the cap. Mine are Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, Keselowski, Busch. That might fit. I don't know. Probably not, actually. You're pushing it right there. For me, personally. Be curious to see what your top 6 are. Where it fits. Probably wouldn't include Larson or Hamlin then. Maybe some of the more PD plays. What's up, Rick? Happy race day, folks. So we got some Brad love today. We do. Brad's been, I mean, on paper, there's really no reason not to like Brad. Now, what happens during the race might be a different story, but at least on paper, which is the only thing we can do before the race starts, he looks like he'll be strong. Amazing at these tracks. He was great last week in a Pocono. So, let's see why he wouldn't be good today. I think he's going to win. No, but starting in 26, if he can just contend for a top 10, I'll be happy. 1969 says Hamlin and stacking the back. Yeah, you got nothing against that. Hamlin with like Busch, Hendrick, Barry. If you wanted to, Busch or Keselowski. Certainly works. Yeah, the over did smash today. Big time. Travis says, is it viable to use Reddick as my only dom up front, using Keselowski and Buescher as PD with dom upside, and then the rest PD? Hockey plays, not sure if leaving 1,000 on the table would get me different. If you're leaving $1,000 plus on the table, you probably will be different, because if you're hand building, everyone wants to try to get close to the $50,000 cap or whatever it is, because it's just what you want to do. It always feels weird leaving that much money on the table. So that's definitely a fine way to go. And Reddick is your only dom up front. There's not that many laps. So if you think he leads like half this race, that's fine, because at his price point, he'll absolutely smash. Where's this dude at? This dude was late. What's up, Grade A? Top 3 plays on FanDuel, 7,500 and lower, and are light and or fading Truex and Chastain. I will be decently low on Truex because of the pass-through penalty, and it's not like he was that fast in practice anyway. I don't think the pass-through penalty is going to kill him or anything. I mean, he's not going to go lap down, but it's definitely not like ideal situation, especially when he didn't show that much speed. And Chastain, there's just so many PD plays. He was probably like the slowest of the bunch, so I'm just not going to get to him as much as the others. So I'll still filter into lineups if I'm playing 20, 150 lineups, but if I'm playing like a single entry to 3 max, I don't think I'm going to get there. The top 3 plays, 7,500 and below on FanDuel for me, though, would be Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric, and Josh Berry. Just say 12:30 next time. Oh, catching some heat in the chat. Nicholas says, rest in peace, Chris. He's back. Yeah, MLB lock during Sunday. It doesn't make it easier because I do have to do MLB stuff as well. Yeah, she sure did, Rick. Appreciate you, Big Mike. All right, let me see. Jason says, what's up, baby? Who wins? I have it as Hamlin as the winner, but I mean, the odds just kind of suck for it. If maybe something happens to him during the race where I can get some better live odds, I will take a stab, but man, the odds are just, they're brutal today. I am showing absolutely 0 outright betting odds currently. Like I said, I had Byron earlier in the week at plus 1,300, and that is it. Everything else is just, it's bad. Like, for me to want to bet Hamlin, I'd have to get like a 550 number because I have him fair at 536. They're offering him at 450. Can't do it. I got Reddick fair at 676. They got him at 475. No, thank you. So, just priced out for me, and I am not chasing. Just because I think someone's going to win does not mean I'm going to bet them, because obviously the guys that we all think are going to win don't always win. or Hamlin and Larson would win almost every single race. Yeah, we got the makeup department, so we're all good to go now. Reddick for the win, CP says Rick. I wouldn't be overly surprised. I mean, front row has performed pretty well Indy in the past. He's got an extremely fast car. I have him third behind Larson and Hamlin, but he is definitely in the mix right there with them. What's up, Zans? His thoughts on Bell, Keselowski, Reddick, Buescher, Haley, and Barry for single entry. It's a good lineup. We have Reddick as our Dom. Bell's a hybrid. Kes is a hybrid. Buescher's kind of a hybrid. Yeah, looks pretty solid to me. Surprised you didn't sneak Ty Gibbs in there. Yes, he's alive and in good health. We're good to go. Is Brad a good pick for tourneys? I mean, he's going to be chalky, but he is one of my more favorite plays on the slate. What's up, Mundo? Stars and scrubs are balanced lineups. I would go more balanced today. There's just not enough laps to where you're like jamming in 3 guys that are $10,000. So I would definitely say more of a balanced build, because the cheap plays just suck today. The lowest I really would want to go is Jimmy Johnson, and I think we all know what happens with Jimmy Johnson usually. He does project decent though. So I wouldn't hate it if you played Jimmy today, but Carson Hocevar, Jimmy Johnson, like below those guys, there is nothing. Ryan Preece maybe, but he's probably going to be very slow today. So you're going to want to go more balanced. Got a donut from Heater. Appreciate that. Says, hope this gets to Oakley. Yeah, we'll use it on some dog foods. Appreciate it. Says Reddick McDowell locks? I would say no. I mean, I like Reddick a lot, but McDowell is an extremely risky play today. So he's going to be starting in 8th, and I am finishing 17th, so it's just kind of a tough play at $7,100, especially when there's just so many other really good plays priced around him. Like, you have Eric Jones, Josh Berry, Austin Cindric, Wallace, Busch. I mean, really tough for me to get to McDowell there. I think he ends up fading back. The kid, what's up? Hamlin or Reddick, higher owned. That's tough. I was struggling without some ownership projections, but I think just because of the price discount, Reddick will be higher owned. And if people are looking at practice times and the qualifying on the pole, I think that will give him the slight edge because it's easier to fit him in. That white number 9 car is going to be quick. I definitely do think it's going to be quick. We'll see if it has race winning speed though. Dustin says, will you do a video to just talk to us anyway? I'm not sure what that means. Pugsley says, I went Denny, Byron, Brad, Bowman, Carson, and Haley for DraftKings tourneys. How'd I do? Did you get to watch the strategy video? Like Denny, like Byron, Brad, Bowman, Carson. Yeah, I mean, you're avoiding a lot of the chalk there with no Cindric, no Kyle Busch. Also no Reddick or Keselowski or Buescher. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely you have Keselowski with Brad. But yeah, it does look solid. I mean, it's definitely off the chalk. And Byron is, I think, one of the better sneaky dominators today. I'm not saying he's the most likely candidate to dominate today, but he's going to be right in the mix, and he's only $9,000. Is Chastain a bad pivot off of Rowdy? No, but he did look slower, and he does offer you less place differential upside. So for me personally, I like Kyle Busch more. Got my viewpoint on it. Byron, Reddick, Bowman, Keselowski, Cindric, and Berry. Yeah, I can get down with that. 2 solid doms there, and then the rest looks really good. What's up, Sean? Howdy ho, Chris. Let's win some money. That's a good idea. I wouldn't mind winning some before we go on a bit of a break. It just says just kidding, Bubba instead of Bowman. Still pretty much the same thing for me. I think it's so solid. What's up, Boy Dow? Says better finish position. Reddick versus Elliott. Bowman versus Slowski. And Logano versus Gibbs. Is Slowski, I guess that's Keselowski, but let's not call Brad slow now. But Reddick versus Elliott, I have Reddick. Bowman versus Keselowski, I have it as Keselowski. And Logano versus Gibbs, I have it by Gibbs. Hello, Miss Jules. Hair and makeup look great today. Thank you. Happy race day, everyone. Yes. Appreciate your help on the makeup department, of course. Suggestion for core plays, core cash plays on DraftKings. If you're playing DraftKings today and you're playing cash games, you're gonna start with Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski, and Chris Buescher. For me personally, that leaves 2 open spots. You can do with that. You can do whatever you want with them. I'd say a lot of people probably end up going with like a Reddick, Josh Berry, or maybe they go with Denny Hamlin and you go a little bit cheaper, something like that. Bung says Logano top 10 minus 120. He's been good here. I don't like it personally. For me to bet him at top 10, I'd have to see a plus 230, and you are not going to get that. I mean, obviously he could top 10, but I'm showing minus 24% leverage on that. So I'm not going to bet that personally. Truex to the rear, any concerns? I mean, it doesn't. I think at the end of the day, he'll probably finish where he should anyway, but I don't think he's going to be that fast. So he'll probably finish around, what did I give him? I gave Truex around 10th, and that's just not good enough for DFS purposes really to pay off anyway. So I'm not really in on Truex. Could get there in strategy, and my one small outright bet on him early in the week would be pleased if he won, but other than that, I don't really have much interest. What's up, John? Hey, Chris, good luck today. Good luck to you as well. Who do you have finishing better head-to-head? Blaney versus Truex. That'd be Blaney. Brad K versus Bowman. That's Brad K. And Elliott versus Reddick. Reddick, and then Gibbs over Logano. And you're welcome. Answered the question on Truex. Just not a lot of interest there. Any Logano love? Not really. The way Logano works out is off a weird strategy, which he seems to do quite often, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like a 6th place finish, but I do think there's just better plays on the slate today. Like Liker says, thoughts on this lineup. Reddick, Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Hemrick, Priest. I'm going to pass on that. There's just not enough laps to really warrant playing those 4 big dogs there and then going with Hemrick and Priest for me. So I'd rather go more balanced. Gil Torres, what are your thoughts on Gillen starting 24th and cheap at 6,500 on DK to be different? I mean, it's definitely going to be different. I don't think people are going to play him. So looking at practice, 18th in the 1, 26th in the 5, 21st in the 10, which was 3rd worst. I guess of the guys that ran that. If we're looking at the lap data, Todd Gillen comes in at 24th. So, I mean, he's probably going to run right around where he is all day. I don't see anything to really warrant otherwise. He did do the tire test here, I believe. Not sure how much of an advantage that's going to be for him, though. And the other guys that ran the tire test were Denny Hamlin, which that's probably good for him. And then Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch wrecked during the tire test. So go figure. Thoughts on Haley and Hemrick? They're going to be slow. They're going to need carnage. It's really all I can say. Nick Papagiorgio, one of my favorite names here. What drivers would you eliminate for the player pool in a DK20 max? Well, we could probably like cut the pool in half for a 20 max, like Dillon, Burton, Smith, LaJoy, Ware, Hemrick, Dillon, McLeod, Nemechek, Dinger, Stenhouse, Priest, Rexon. Probably like the main cutoff points for me. You could cut off a few more, but I don't want to list 20 names. Thoughts on the guys starting in the back of the top 10? Back of the top 10. So we are talking about Gibbs, McDowell, Nemechek, Blaney. Stenhouse. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of any of them. The one I'd have the most interest in would be Ty Gibbs. I mean, Blaney, obviously, but I'm not a fan of McDowell, Stenhouse, Dillon, or Nemechek today. Just too far up, and I mean, they're more than likely going to move back. Thoughts on Hocevar? Hocevar is a pretty solid play. But looking at his numbers at similar tracks this year, he's been usually right around 15th to 20th place, starting in 30th. Decent speed in practice. He should be able to move up. He's my, I would say he's my favorite 6K play for sure. What's up, David? I got Byron, Hocevar, Keselowski, Larson, Priest, and Reddick. Thoughts? So I mean, 3 guys in the top 5 is a little bit pushing it for me. Race like this because there's a lot of place differential, so a lot's got to go right for that to work out. I'd say probably 2 would be my preferred route, but it's definitely aggressive. Mateo Soccer says thoughts on Blaney, Byron, Austin, Dillon, Hamlin, Stenhouse, and Wallace. For me personally, it's a really, really tough path for Austin, Dillon, and Stenhouse to work out, especially both of them working out, so I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, you would need you would pretty much need like every single place differential play to bust for that build to work, and you need a lot to go right with Dylan, Ricky Stenhouse. What do you think about Hemrick and Gillen? My only thoughts on, like, if you are a scrub, you need some carnage to work out, because I don't think passing is going to be easy, and they're in the back for a reason. Most of them are. I mean, some guys obviously screwed up qualifying a little bit, like Cindric, Bush, and whatnot, but I mean, Hemrick, he's just slow. Ty Dillon's slow. Like, all these guys are slow. Gillen will probably run top 25, but I don't think there's a ton of room for more. Thoughts on Gibbs? If he was starting a little bit further back, I'd have more interest. He's cheap though. Like, he's the cheapest of the JGR group, and they should run solid. But if he runs like 7th all day, let's just say he finishes 7th, for example. He is getting you 36 points, and maybe he gets some fast laps mixed in there. So like 36 to 40 points. But if we're looking at, say, Chris Buescher, right above him, starting in 23rd, for him to get 40 points, he would have to get to 13th place, which I think is more likely. It's just easier. I mean, the floor is higher. Like, if Ty Gibbs finishes 11th, we're talking 27 points. But we'll see what happens. He's like 20 max, 150 max type play. Not for me, not really a 3 max single entry kind of guy. What's up, Roddar? Says, hey Chris, thanks again for all your work. Appreciate that. Says, who's higher? Who's your higher finish, Buescher or Bowman? I have that Buescher by like 0.4, 0.5, whatever it is. So it's close. What's up, Marie? Barry or Cindric? Which one would you leave out? I would leave out Barry. I'd rather play Cindric. And who would I replace Barry with? Oh, Barry's 7,500. So I would say either Bubba Wallace or Eric Jones, personally. How does Bell look today, asked Jill? I think Bell is a better FanDuel play today. Not saying you can't play him on DraftKings. He just fits a lot easier over on FanDuel. But he should be solid. I think he'll be like fringe top 10 contender. Probably similar to what we saw at Pocono last weekend, but with him starting further back, it just makes it a little bit easier to play him. Is Johnson playable in a DraftKings tourney if you're trying to get different? Yeah, he is playable today. He's a hard guy to trust. Always seems to wreck out. Starting at 33rd, though. If you're looking at practice, 21st, 23rd. Looking at the overall lap times, he was a little bit worse than 33rd, which is right where he qualified. But I think he can contend for like a borderline top 25, especially if a few guys strike out, assuming it's not him. Every time I pick Priest, he screws me. He does that a lot, so you're probably not alone there. There's a reason he's probably not going to be in a ride next year. Best 6,400 and under driver in your opinion? Unfortunately, it's Jimmy Johnson. I don't really know who else you'd want to play besides Jimmy Johnson. Maybe Justin Haley, because from what we've seen this year, but he looks slow. Ryan Priest, but he's slow. Like, it's probably Jimmy Johnson starting at 33rd. Will Bubba finish top 14? What's the projection say? I'm at 15.17. Very close. Keep in mind, they're conservative, though. So I think, like, ranking-wise, it's actually 14th. But I have him at 15.17. Any thoughts on Bell? Probably answered that. But I like him a lot on FanDuel. Hi, Chris. I need two 6,600 drivers. Well, your best options are probably Haley and Jimmy. I think. Yeah, Haley and Jimmy or Gillen. Gillen's in there too. Two of those three. But for the win today, book it. I don't know about that. We'll see. Gonna need some wild strategy for that to happen, I think. Does Gilly have any upside today? I think he's going to be borderline top 20. I am not seeing too much that would signify other. I'm going with an all-B lineup with H at the end. So we are probably doing, what, Bowman, Bush, Buescher, Bell, Byron, Haley. Does that fit? I don't know. That might be it. Harvey says, good cheap drivers in DraftKings for single entry. Carson Hocevar, Jimmy Johnson. Ones I'm getting to. Wasn't Haley, I guess. Gilly saves me every week. Gilly seems to just get there every week. However he chooses to do so. Haley or Jimmy? I have Jimmy just a little bit higher. It probably ends in disaster though, but Wallace or Cindric? I have Austin Cindric projected better than Wallace, but Wallace is an excellent tournament pivot. Rocky says, Jimmy really got some speed, or should I just ignore his 10-lap average? Well, the 10-lap average, keep in mind only 23 guys ran it. So, Byron didn't do it. Wallace didn't do it. Truex. A lot of the good drivers did. So, he definitely showed speed in that. But if you take the overall laps in general, he was 33rd. So, it's not like he was overly impressive. But other than that, though, 21st in the 1 and 23rd in the 5 is not bad. What's up, Daniels? Race day and back at Indy. 55% Reddick with 15% of that with Hamlin. Lots of Brad, Hamlin, Larson, Elliott, Blaney. Mile on Reddicks. Good luck, Chris. I like that, Daniels. Wish you the best of luck. Kenny says, Jimmy, really? I'm not trying to give my stamp approval on Jimmy Johnson today, so please don't make that my shining moment today. He probably is going to wreck at some point because that's what he does. At some point, we're probably going to get Corey LaJoy wrecking, Kyle Busch will wreck, John and Nemechek, and then I'm sure Jimmy will take one as well. Those are like our 4 wreckers every single week. And then at some point, Truex will have a major issue while he's running well and then finish last, close to it. That's usually what happens weekly. Isn't Josh Berry in the Caitlin Clark car? I think so. I don't remember. I never remembered the paint scheme, so then when I'm watching the race, I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. I think he is, though. It's either him or Corey LaJoy, but I don't think it's Corey LaJoy, so yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Caitlin Clark. Well, I do have the entry list right here. Let me see. Yeah, Josh Berry's in the Panini Caitlin Clark car. Brandon says, Truex with the pass-through penalty, still playing or no? No, he might come into a few of my lineups, but we have so many good plays right around him. It's just not something I'm getting to a lot. Thoughts on Bell? Do you like Bell a lot today? Raphael says, who's Chris's pick to win? I have Hamlin leading the way. Eric says, in 3 max, I'm realizing I don't have any Keselowski. Is that okay, or should I rework it? I would have at least one Keselowski. Based off of what we've seen this year, plus he was great at Pocono last weekend. So it's a 7-race sample size for Keselowski, but 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 6 top 15s. So overall, very, very strong numbers. Is 3 drivers in the top 5 too many? Thanks, Chris. Personally, for me, it would be today. Just not as many laps, and I think it gets shuffled around where definitely a few of these plays, differential plays, should end up hitting. I'm sure a couple of them will bust. One will probably wreck out. If I knew who that was, I'd love to tell you, but I do not. But I do think 3 in the top 5 might be a bit too much today. How do you have Gibbs and AJ projecting? Huh? I have Ty Gibbs pretty mid, 33.5 points. It's 4x, so it's not like he's down in the dumps or anything. I gave him an 11th place finish with a couple of dominator points mixed in. As for AJ Allmendinger, he's pretty low in the totem pool for me. I'm finishing right around 22nd, 23rd place, and when you're starting 15th, it doesn't usually end in a good projection. 48 or 20. If pricing doesn't matter, I'll take Bell. Rick's on the chrome horn, and he's going Reddick, Byron, Bowman, Wallace, and Cindric. What are your thoughts? Any adjustments you would make? No, that's good. You have 3 of my favorite tournament plays there with Byron, Bowman, and Bubba. So, by all means, looks pretty good. Thoughts on Busch? Busch is going to break our hearts today, but he does project well, so I'm playing him. But I'm willing to die with it. He was decent in practice. He's starting pretty much dead last. Also, we do have a narrative today. I guess it's his 700th start, so maybe we'll have something working for him. But on the bright side, it's very difficult to get lapped here. It's a massive track. So we'll see what happens. But I'm hoping somehow, some way, pit cycle, caution, flag, he gets track position at some point, he can hold it. Thoughts on the Hungarian GP? I'm going to go with your name and have none. I have no thoughts on that. I don't watch F1. Now, people in the Discord do. I don't know what they're talking about. But I did see Max did not win, so that's always a good day, I guess, when Max doesn't win. It was Piastri? Did I say his name? Piastri? So Johnny Z. Byron, Gibbs, or Bowman for single entry. Thanks as always. If pricing does not matter, I will go with Byron there. C-Mitch says he has 15% exposure on the gun on 20 max. Am I overexposed? It's higher than I would have him. I think he's going to be around 12% owned today. And I have him showing optimal less than that. Me, I'd have 10% or less personally. I don't feel bad. Eric Jones pitted off the guys in the back. That's fine. Yeah, I think Eric Jones is one of the better tournament plays on the slate, just ownership wise. Obviously, is he going to project as well as guys like Bush and them? No, but you can sneak in like a 12th place finish and just Bush is like at 26 and whatnot. It can work out for sure. Briscoe thoughts? I think Briscoe's going to be pretty slow. I don't really have much interest there. If he was starting a little bit further back, I would say all right, but I'd rather play Hocevar starting 10 spots further back. I'd rather play Jones, a little bit more expensive. Brandon's going with Elliott, Reddick, Gibbs. A lot in the top 6 there. Bush, Wallace, and Hocevar on DFS. If you're willing to be aggressive like that, I mean, they're all drivers that I have interest in. But it's definitely an aggressive approach. It's being a track position race, which, I mean, like stage 1, yes, these guys are probably going to run the entire time, but I just worry about like one of them getting shuffled back and then they're like stuck in 13th or something. But that can work. I'm not saying it can't work out. Okay to play Hamlin and Reddick in the same lineup? Yes, but I wouldn't really do anybody else inside the top 5 because if you're doing that, you need those to be the 2 lap leaders pretty much. But with Reddick's price point being so cheap, it makes it work better. Like if it was, say, Larson starting 1-2 with Hamlin, I probably wouldn't like doing that. I'd say either one of them. But with Reddick being so cheap, I think it's fine to pair him with another guy up front if you want to. Justin Butler says Hamlin, Keselowski, Reddick, Busher, Hocevar, and Priest, Gurney, single entry. Do I need more chalk? No, that's all right. Let me see. So Hamlin, Reddick up front. Keselowski, Busher, I love that. Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, you're going to need Bush and Cindric to probably not get inside the top 20. That'll be a bit of a sweat. What's up, Hunter? It's a sup cutie. I remember that. I'm going to have to screenshot that. But we got some FanDuel to build here when I get off. Well, I'm going to hope that FanDuel lock is not a 2. Okay, so I almost had a heart attack. I thought FanDuel lock was a 2 for a second. I was like, I am not done building yet. Finish top 20 Haley. I don't think that happens unless there's carnage. Colin says, thank you, Chris, for answering my question. You're welcome. Oh, that wasn't being sarcastic and I skipped it. If not, you're welcome. Thoughts on Jay, says Josh. Jay could be a lot of people. Could be Josh Berry. Could be Jimmy Johnson. Could be John Hunter Nemechek. I'm not really sure. Haley or Gilly? I would go with Todd Gillen, personally. Sean says, Elliott, Keselowski, Reddick, Busher, Cindric, Jimmy Johnson for DraftKings GPP. Yeah, it works. Elliott will keep you there. I don't think Elliott's ownership is going to be anything too crazy today with your JJ pick. I hope people don't think JJ's my favorite play in the slate or anything. I just think if you're going 6K and below, he is the best option. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the single entry for big GPP? Elliott, Byron, Hocevar, Wallace, Bowman, and Busher. Yeah, it's a good build. It's like the roster construction I would build with, and you're leaving off Cindric and Bush, which will keep you different for a big contest like that. Zian says, what race do you think Gibbs has the best chance to win at that's left? His best chance is probably going to end up being a road course. Let me pull up the full schedule here. I mean, yeah, Gibbs' best chance would probably end up being Watkins Glen, but that's in the playoffs. But yeah, probably Watkins Glen road course. I mean, he's been very fast, obviously, but I don't think he's been like the absolute top car for the entire race yet. There's been some races where he's been extremely good for like a stage or two, though. But probably Watkins Glen, I guess. Barrier Bush, last spot for DraftKings. I would go with Kyle Busch there. Can we trust in Ty Gibbs today? I have him losing some spots. Still not like a terrible play, but he's not top priority for me. Good luck to you as well, Ellis. Who do you like on DraftKings with 7,100 left? I would go with Hocevar if I have that much money. Sean says he won $1,000 on a $10 bet in DraftKings Madden Sims yesterday. Putting in some NASCAR lamps today? That's right, you do like the Madden Sims. Well, congrats, Sean. That's awesome. I'm glad you could have a nice hit on that. Hopefully you can do well in NASCAR too. Still says Hocevar or Jones. I believe I have Hocevar higher. No, I actually have Jones higher by about a point. Very close though. I predicted the lineups. I went over that earlier, but I don't want to really give away the lineups. Steven says Halen, Busher, Bowman, Jones, Hocevar, and Cindric. What do you think? Yeah, that's solid. I'll probably have something similar to that, but yeah, it looks good. Sorry, I was confused. I thought I saw Brett Keselowski, but I guess he wasn't in there. Must have been the message behind me because it says, let's go CP. I was the Keselowski pick. Yeah, I'm with you on Keselowski. I mean, I don't think he's going to lead laps or anything, but I think Kes should be very strong today. David says, place differential plays may not work for a course that's hard to pass. Yes, but at the same time, like cautions and pit strategy, it can shuffle the field up. So obviously stage 1, yeah, like these guys are probably going to suck for a little bit, but by the end of the race, you know, guys get shuffled around. Larson, Hamlin, Busher, Cindric, Hocevar, 6,300 left. Or who should I take out? One of Hamlin or Larson? If I had to take out one, it would be Larson. But if you have 6,300 left, I would unfortunately go with Jimmy Johnson. Unfortunately. Hey, C-Pen, thoughts on C-Bell today? I like him on FanDuel. Not saying you can't play him on DraftKings, but he does look better over there. But I got him projected for 4.5x value, which is all right. Appreciate that, Sean. Does Gillen have a penalty to start at the back as well for failing inspection 2 times? Let me double check. No, he does not. It's Cindric and Truex, and Truex has the pass-through penalty. And please don't ask me if Cindric going to the back changes anything. Is there any obvious value plays on FanDuel? Ask Clips. Pretty much everyone's going to be like to Kyle Busch at $7,500, and then Austin Cindric in a similar price range. Those would be like the really popular value FanDuel plays. And then if you're going even cheaper, I would say Carson Hocevar. Is Ross really that slow? Based off of practice and qualifying, yes. He was like 29th in the overall lap-by-lap numbers. If you're looking at qualifying, he was slow. If you're looking at practice, he was slow. Like, he just does not look that great. And the Trackhouse cars weren't very good at poking him either. I know Ross wrecked out, but he was like around 20th where he started most of the time. Your best guy in the 7K range for cash, thank you. Austin Cindric. That worked. Thanks as always, Chris, says Dan. Good luck today. Yeah, good luck to you as well, Dan. Appreciate that. Josh Byer says, Brad Keselowski, Byron, Kyle Busch, Ross, Jones, and Bubba. Diverse for me. I think that looks pretty good. Well, Ross, I'm a little bit concerned about the speed with Ross today. But the rest, I think, looks pretty solid. Rocky Balboa says, sad day when playing Jimmy Johnson feels like playing Stenhouse, but even more likely to wreck. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Johnson has not been good in this 84 car. It's been absolutely brutal. That's for sure. Are you playing more 1 or 2 dom lines today? Also more from 30 plus or mid pack. I'm about to build right after I get off the stream, which is I'm gonna have to hurry. But I think a lot of them are probably gonna be like mainly one guy up there with some like other. But on draft, if it's FanDuel, it's pretty much just one of those guys. On DraftKings, you can more like mix it. Just depends on the build you're going with. Because there's a lot of like hybrid plays today, like Keselowski. He's expensive, but kind of a hybrid Christopher Bell at the same time. 30 minutes to go. Go Butch Chris. Yeah, I gotta hurry up, Rowdy Dragon. I got 2 more questions though, and then I'll get out of here. No love for Chastain today. He'll filter into some of my MME lineups, but he just does not look very, very fast. Like projection wise though, on DraftKings and on FanDuel, he does not project that bad. I got him for 38.5 points. I gave him a 17.5 predicted finish. The issue is there's guys that are cheaper than him that project better, so that's just why he's not going to pop up as much. Byron or Hamlin on FanDuel, I will take Hamlin. And what do I think of McDowell? McDowell, I think, is just starting too far up for me. Maybe passing on that. But I think I got to all of the questions. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit of a break, but I'll be back for, I don't know where we're at actually, but I'll be back for whatever race is next. Appreciate y'all hanging out. I wish y'all the best of luck today. And yeah, see you.